What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 My Team Career Mode. Last time out we were at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix in Imola, and after a strong qualifying performance where we qualified first and second on the grid with Pourchaire ahead of myself, we unfortunately had Pourchaire DNFing in the sprint, leading to him scoring no points over the course of the whole weekend. I picked up third after his DNF in the sprint, so I picked up 6 points, and then I had a DNF from second place 1 lap before the end of the Grand Prix. So yeah, a pretty bad weekend for us, all things considered. I believe I titled that video Jaguar's Darkest Weekend, and it certainly wasn't a great one. It was due to a control electronics fault. I think I said that in the previous video as well. But yeah, impossible to run with those for even 20 seconds after you have a fault. So you just want to immediately pull over and end the race. Unfortunately, we have an option to either boost Pourchaire's acclaim and some of our cash, or we can boost his stats. And I'm going to go with his stats because that's kind of where my priorities lie at the moment, is improving the driver wherever I can through all kinds of personnel upgrades. We're going to try and get a few upgrades on the personnel facilities over the course of the season. Maybe get pace to level 3, and the other one I think is contributes to focus, racecraft and awareness. So if we can get that one to level 3 as well, that'd be brilliant. Experience, not too terribly important at the moment because we're not strapped for resource points. Obviously if there is a regulation change at the end of the season, which I anticipate there probably will be, we will need some to cover off some of these upgrades. But once we get those level 3 personnel upgrades, we can never lose them. And then even if we do have a bad car, Pourchaire can be doing the business wherever he needs to be. We have an opportunity to close out our rivalry against Lando Norris in this Grand Prix, so I duly hope that we are capable of doing that. We only need to outscore him by maybe 1 or 2 points, and then we're going to boost the difficulty up by 1. I think it's pretty likely that we're going to do that. It's basically just a matter of confirmation, and yeah, we need a good result here because the DNF in the last race has put us quite significantly far behind Leclerc in the championship. I think we're like 19 points adrift of him now. So if he wins another race, he could be in a position where he could have a free DNF basically, if everything goes his way. So we kind of we want to do everything we can to get back at him in this championship ASAP, and that starts with hopefully a win here, but at the very least a good result. It's Miami. It's a track that's typically been fairly strong for me. Season 2, I believe I got I think it was my first ever podium here, if I'm not mistaken. It was P2 here, and yeah, fantastic result after a difficult season 1. I felt like our hard work really started to be rewarded in season 2 with a few podiums, a couple of wins actually in a few unlikely places, and yeah, overall just a very strong performance. The performance not so strong here on this occasion, but I think we could be quite strong. We were the fastest medium compound runner, but that's not really saying much when the second fastest medium compound runner was an Alfa Romeo. It's hard to say for certain exactly how far off the pace we necessarily were had we run on softs, but yeah, I'm not going to worry about that too much. Next up is going to be qualifying, of course, and I think before that maybe we have one more upgrade to do, but I can't remember if that is the case or not. I think there is another one that we've got to get on the car first in the durability department. We've got one that's in development at the moment, and this last one, ICE failure analysis. They'll be more resistant to wear as a result. I think maybe it'll be less likely to fail. And I mean, once we got that on the car, we've literally maxed out our durability. So any failures we have after that will be completely unavoidable. There will literally be no way we could have avoided them if they do arise. Like I said, I think we could have a shot at winning this. It might take a little bit more power than I have, but if we if we can qualify well up the order, then I think we could still challenge for the win. That obviously starts in Q1, where we're on a fresh set of soft compound tyres. These will probably be the only soft compound tyres I use over the whole weekend, right? Because I think the session is due to rain shortly after this. It was important to get out nice and early to set a time on the softs. In the end, it was good enough for P5, and indeed it did start raining at the end, so I only did 1 lap in Q1, and now we're going to move on to Q2, where it will no doubt be wet. A couple shock exits in Q2, actually, or not going through to Q2, I should say, including Guan Yu Zhou and Esteban Ocon as well. I would say anyone who isn't in a Haas or an Aston Martin or a Williams, any of those getting eliminated in Q1, something must have gone quite drastically wrong for them. Now we're into Q2, and we're on a fresh set of intermediate tyres. These will be probably what we'll be using for the rest of qualifying, unless it gets significantly wetter in Q3 maybe. 136.7 is not great. I would ideally like to improve on that. And I think I did another lap basically immediately after that one. And we managed to improve by a few tenths in just about every sector. And in the end, that's good enough to put us P3, 136.2. And yeah, I think that's going to be our last lap of this session as well, because yeah, the track is just getting wetter and wetter now. Pourchaire, unfortunately, is out in P13. A pretty poor performance from him, all things considered. Meanwhile, both AlphaTauris through again to Q3. They're having a strong performance so far this season. I think that AlphaTauri is definitely sort of challenging in the rest of the 7 teams on the grid that aren't the ones I mentioned earlier, who are sort of the back markers of the grid. And yeah, we're now through to Q3, and we're going to try and see if we can do a good run and stick the car on pole. As we come around the final corner here, we're on a fresh set of intermediate tyres, and the time is good enough for a 137.7. It puts us P2, which Mark is absolutely delighted with, but we'll see if we can retain that. I think the session is continually getting wetter, and indeed, I tried doing another run, but it wanted to send me out on a set of wets, so I was like, there's probably no point doing that. So in the end, it's good enough for P2. Sonoda P3, fantastic result for him. And yeah, we could be in with a really good chance of challenging for the win. I know Leclerc was a long way ahead of us, but you have to remember that I'm never as strong in the wet as I am in the dry. So yeah, I think we could still be looking at a solid performance here if we can start well, maybe challenge Leclerc into turn 1. We win the rivalry against Norris because we out-qualify him, and that is going to be a difficulty point that I'm going to be boosting up. We move up to almost acclaim level 19, and yeah, things are starting to look up for the team. We're not too far away from team acclaim level 25 now, which means we'll be able to sign one more sponsor to stick on the car, and then we'll be raking in the dough, as they say. Once we've got that, we'll basically just be able to blitz getting all the facilities, especially because the car's so strong. I'm going to change the sponsors soon to mean that we're going to get more money coming in, because the thing I've realized is that the tracks that I'm not strong at, there's a real possibility that Pourchaire could be strong at them. If he was strong in Imola, he's only going to get stronger into this season, especially as I improve his stats. I think, honestly, if we don't challenge for the World Championship this season, there's a real chance if I can boost his stats sooner rather than later, Pourchaire actually might be able to fight his way back into this championship, which is an absurd thing to say, I know, but I really do think it could be possible for Pourchaire to win this World Championship still. He's a long way off at the moment. He's only on like 11 points or something like that, and myself and Leclerc are already into the hundreds, but I think he could do it. But enough speculation, it's time to get into the race.
Welcome to the Magic City. We're here at the Miami International Autodrome, the home of the Hard Rock Stadium, a multi-purpose sports and entertainment hub which has hosted Super Bowls, Baseball World Series, numerous rock concerts, and now, for the first time, Formula One. A lap of the Miami Grand Prix features 3.36 miles of track around the Hard Rock Stadium, and 19 corners make up the Miami International Autodrome, which will challenge the drivers in a tight wheel-to-wheel race. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And Robinson completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Sonoda, Sainz, Max Verstappen, and Perez, Gasly, Russell, Fernando Alonso, and Christian Lundgaard, Ricciardo, Théo Pourchaire, Oscar Piastri, and Schwartzman, Norris, Zhou, Esteban Ocon, and Alex Albon, Stroll, Latifi, Mick Schumacher. They've taken a grid penalty. And Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box. Ant, it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn one, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
I think we are going to get a good start here, and we're going to challenge Leclerc into turn one, and we're going to run away with this race with no issues whatsoever. That's my prediction. Let me know what you guys think is going to happen down in the comments. You can even skip ahead in the video, find out the result, comment it, and then come back and watch what happens. I can't control it. You can do whatever you like.
Superb parking there, mate. Let's make sure we get the edge on the surrounding drivers as the lights go out.
Anyway, enough speculation about a race in which I already know what's going to happen. It's time for the grid to form up, and like I said, all we need to do here is get a good start, and we're going to be all over the back of that Ferrari, and hopefully getting through and getting the maximum gambit of points that we possibly can in this race. The lights come on and the lights go out, and it's time for us to get going. We get a pretty good start compared to Leclerc, but once again through the second phase he's just as strong as you'd expect. I have a bit of a look up his inside here, but yeah, I can't quite challenge him. He's just a bit too fast around the outside. He has the better run. Fortunately, we hold off Tsunoda, who was looking to mount a bit of a challenge there into turn one on us. He was looking to come through to get his, I think what would be his second or even second career podium, I think it would be, after he got one in that very bizarre China race that happened in Season 2, which saw Enzo Fittipaldi finish P6, which I think to date is still my strongest teammate performance, because I don't think Porsche, unfortunately, given that Imola situation, I still don't think Porsche has actually finished above that spot. I know he got a P7, and I think he's had a few other strong performances, but he hasn't got higher than P6 so far, which is quite crazy to say. But anyway, we move forward, and yeah, we're just going to try and stay with Leclerc for now if we can, see if we can get the DRS once the DRS opens up. But as always, we seem to be struggling quite a lot through the straights, and yeah, it's getting corner exits down that is really hampering us. These cars are pulling away by sort of 2/10 through every single exit of the corner, and it's not just like a concertina type thing, because it happens inverse for cars behind me, where they will be like slower than me throughout most of the lap, and then on corner exit they will slingshot towards me, which I don't really understand how it happens, but yeah, they just seem to have such superior traction over me always. Théo Pourchaire came into the pits for some reason. I can only assume that he had some kind of contact on the first lap or something like that. We're going to try and close down Leclerc, but as you can see, he's already extended the gap to over a second, so I think we're going to be in a bit of trouble here, unfortunately. Fortunately, we've already extended the gap on Tsunoda behind by quite a lot as well, so it's looking like we're going to fall into a real no man's land in this race, which is okay, but it's a little bit annoying considering Leclerc is the person who I absolutely would like to be outperforming in this race more than anyone else. I don't really care about the other 20 drivers. As long as I'm outscoring Leclerc, that's all I really care about. But you can see he's just completely disappeared already. By lap 6, he had checked out compared to me. I don't think there was any way I was catching up with him. Unsurprisingly, I'm faster through end sector 2, the Mickey Mouse section, if you will. And but that's about it really. You know, I think a little bit sometimes in sector 1 I can be slightly faster. Now we're having a look at Kevin Magnussen, and yeah, once again for the third time in 6 races, this is Kevin Magnussen retiring from the race. Absolute flop signing by Aston Martin.
You're joking. Not another one?
Actually just terrible. I don't know why that car is so unreliable. But yeah, he's barely made it 10 laps in some of these Grand Prix. let me know what you think. Should we save him from his woes at Aston Martin? Should we try and sign him on here for season 5 of this My Team career mode as we come into the pits? It's a pretty fast stop as usual, yeah, that's not going to hinder us any, but I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference, unfortunately, in our race with Leclerc, because we were so far ahead to begin with. But yeah, as we progress further through this race, and you see that the other cars are coming into the pits now, including Tsunoda, including Sainz and Perez, and I think Verstappen is going to jump Tsunoda in the pits here. He was pressuring Tsunoda for a long time before the pit stop phase, so I think it only makes sense now that he'll be overtaking Tsunoda by quite a lot. Actually, Norris has got ahead as well, and Tsunoda's been kicked off the podium royally, so it will not be a third career or a second career podium for Tsunoda on this occasion, and instead it's going to be probably Verstappen, I'd say, as Gasly has also gotten ahead of his teammate off the pit stop phase, so I'm not really sure what happened there. We move on to lap 15, and we're now being closed down by Verstappen a little bit as Leclerc continues to extend the gap out front. But I think this race is about to be flipped on its head, because as you're about to find out, there's a safety car. I'm not sure why, but yeah, the safety car has been called, and this is going to allow me to catch up to the back of Leclerc. And you guys might remember what happened in a race not too dissimilar to this in the Netherlands in season 2, the 2023 season. I was comfortably second for a long time during the race, but Norris was a long way up the road, and there was kind of no beating him. He was sort of 10 seconds up the road, something like that. And then 4 laps before the end, the safety car came out, and we challenged him into turn 1 at Zandvoort, and took our first career win. And now here we're going to be trying to challenge for I think this would be our 9th career win, as we do what we did to Norris in that Zandvoort race all that time ago. We actually ghost through Leclerc. I've never seen that before, but I guess that's what happens if it looks like two cars try and collide under safety car. They've changed it to become ghosting rather than just causing each other damage. Maybe that's only if they're side by side, I'm not sure. But either way, we are going to try and pressure him into turn 1. We're going to try and go round the outside like he did to us at the start of the race, and I think we've pulled it off. Yes, we have indeed. We've made it through, so we only have 11 laps now in which we've got to hold him off to close out this victory here in Miami. I am going to do everything in my power. You see, I closed the door on him a little bit there through that fast left-hander. I want this win. I need it really if we're going to be challenging for this World Championship, especially with Monaco coming up next, which we kind of got away with last season. We had an uncharacteristic strong performance there, but I doubt it's going to be a similar ordeal this time around. And yeah, we're going to really have to do everything in our power to make sure that Leclerc doesn't overtake us again and extend his lead further in this World Championship. Now that we've gained this position, we do not want to be losing it. I think the safety car might have been called for Théo Pourchaire actually, because he stopped again under safety car, but I'm not sure if that was just because he stopped early that his strategy shook out like that. We come now onto lap 20 and the DRS has been enabled, so we're going to have to try and drop Leclerc by about 4 or 5 tenths through this next sector to make sure that he doesn't have the DRS on us going forward. We're going to burn probably quite a lot of battery down this straight because he will have the DRS on this occasion. And as we come to the Mickey Mouse section, I'm a lot faster than him as per usual, and we've pulled out of the DRS range. So now we just have to try and stay out of the DRS range of Leclerc for as long as we possibly can, and try and make sure that we can continue extending this gap over him and over Verstappen to hopefully take the win here in Miami. I'm going to be willing on Verstappen to make up this place on Leclerc, because Leclerc is obviously ahead in the championship at the moment, and if Verstappen can make up that place, that's more points that he would be dropping to me on this occasion, which could be critical in my championship fight. We move on to lap 26, and you see that I've kind of maintained the gap at about 2 seconds for a little while now, and yeah, I mean, this is fine as long as he doesn't have the DRS. We're not going to be under too much pressure, so I'm not really fussed about the exact gap. I'm just fussed about whether or not he's in DRS range or not. I'm not fussed if I'm extending, just as long as it's not coming down to the point where he's going to be in DRS range before the end of the race. and we're anywhere between 2 and 2.5 seconds ahead. So yeah, I think we're going to be comfortable. And as we come round onto the final straight of the I don't know what I was trying to say there. As we come around onto the final straight of the final lap, let's say that, we are still comfortably in the lead. The gap is about 3 seconds. So I think we're going to hold on to this for now. We come around the final few corners. These are actually the last few corners. They cross the line on a corner, which means Crofty can never say he rounds the final corner, and we win the race. So that is our 3rd victory of the season by this point. Last season we'd also won 3 races. So like I said, anything can change in a heartbeat, but it certainly is an encouraging position to find ourselves in at this stage of the season.
A nearly flawless performance here then, and a commanding victory. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
I think that smart time management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Welcome then to the podium, our top 3 drivers. What a great effort from them today in a very difficult race.
It was a difficult race indeed, and it was a race that for a very long time it didn't look like I was going to win, but once again the safety car changed everything. Much like it could have done in China if it weren't for Norris's DNF. I feel like I was catching him at a rate of knots in that race as well after the pit stop phase. But that win was gifted to me. This one was not. I had to work for this one beyond the safety car, and we made it work.
Despite the best efforts of our championship leader, that lead has taken a bit of a knock today. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Difficult call, but I'd like to say Esteban Ocon. He's just so gifted at getting the most out of his tyres, and he showed that today.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Meanwhile, AlphaTauri's strong weekend allows them to continue their march up the table. Well, that was certainly an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon.
Well, I was wrong in my assertion that myself and Leclerc already had 100 points. He already had 100 points before this race. I did not. I do now, as we get into the 100 club after only 6 races with our 3rd win of the season. I think Leclerc has also taken 3 wins this season. I think he won in Bahrain and in, not Spain, in Australia. And he definitely won in Imola. So, yeah, he's having an incredibly strong season. We're having an incredibly strong season. And, I mean, I think if this is to continue throughout the whole season, this championship could well go down to the wire. We're looking at Monaco next. I doubt I'm going to win that one, mostly because it doesn't fit with the canon that we only win even-numbered races on the calendar. But the race after that is Baku, and I know for a fact I can win that race because as far as even though it's been a poor circuit for us in this game, historically across the F1 series, it's been one of my strongest circuits. So I just categorically refuse to believe that somehow I've lost that completely in the life cycle of one game. You know, we did not have a very fast engine at all last season. This time around we do, and that could really make the difference between a win in Baku and you know, struggling in Baku like we have done for the past few seasons. We got a podium there obviously in season 2, so yeah, the win is what I'm targeting there. And then after that is Canada, and I believe after that is Britain, right? So yeah, I mean, that kind of is at odds with the idea that I'm going to win a lot of even-numbered races this year because Britain is a strong race for me. Canada's not. I don't know what's after that. It's either Austria or France. I think it's Austria. I actually did win that one before, so I could well win that. France is one I can win. Hungary's not. Belgium is. Anyway, we'll stop going through the whole calendar. But yeah, if I can win all the even-numbered races this season, that would be something quite spectacular. I think that Japan actually might be one of them this season, so that suddenly sounds a lot more unrealistic. But anyway, yeah, we continue to hold on to P2 in the championship. Leclerc not picking up any points on this occasion, but Porsche not picking up any points for the Constructors' Championship, but I'm sure he'll come good at some point during this season. You know, he has a lot of potential, and he showed glimpses of it before he was cruelly robbed of that in Imola. I just hope that hasn't shaken his focus too much. Hopefully, if we can do some team activities, then perhaps we could improve his focus once again to get him back into a position where he's able to challenge for podiums and race wins once again. Obviously a lot of incidents in this Grand Prix, but we can't have always perfect weekends. We get about as much money as we can get from this, given what our sponsor bonuses currently are. And next up is Monaco, and I just hope that we can have a decent-ish performance there, if nothing else. That is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.